My stepmom demanded I transfer my business to her daughter, because she needs it more. So I made sure they all got fired when the board realized I'm the majority shareholder. Your support is everything to us. Please subscribe, and while you're at it, tell us where you're watching from. We love connecting with you all. I walked into Dad's house for Sunday dinner and knew something was wrong immediately. The dining room felt like a courtroom. My stepmom Regina sat at the head of the table, her daughter Shanice beside her, wearing this smug smile that made my stomach drop. Dad looked uncomfortable, avoiding my eyes. My half-brother Marcus, only 12, seemed confused. "Sit down, Kendra," Regina said, her voice syrupy sweet. "We need to discuss your future." I'd built TechFlow Solutions from nothing. 3 years ago, fresh out of Georgia Tech, I'd created an AI-powered logistics platform in my studio apartment. Now we had 40 employees and $12 million in annual revenue. My baby. My everything. What about my future? I asked, setting down my purse. Regina smiled. Shanice graduated last month. She needs a career opportunity, and you have this successful company. It's time to be a real family, Kendra. Transfer majority ownership to your sister. She needs it more than you do. The room spun. Excuse me. You're young. You'll bounce back, Regina continued, sliding papers across the table. Shanice has student loans. She's struggled. You've had enough success. Share the wealth. Shanice nodded enthusiastically. I've already been telling my friends I'm taking over a tech company. Don't embarrass me, Kendra. I looked at Dad. You're okay with this? He shifted uncomfortably. Regina thinks it would bring the family closer. Maybe you could work something out. Work something out? My voice cracked. This is insane. Regina's expression hardened. Think about what's best for this family, Kendra. Or are you too selfish? I couldn't sleep that night. I kept replaying Regina's words, feeling that familiar knot in my chest. Took me back 6 years, to when Dad first introduced her. Mom had died from breast cancer when I was 16. 2 years later, Dad met Regina at a hospital charity gala. She makes me feel alive again, he'd said, eyes bright for the first time in months. I wanted him happy. God knows I did. Regina seemed nice at first. Warm, attentive. She had Shanice from a previous marriage, 21 to my 18. We weren't close, but it was cordial. Then Dad married her. Everything shifted. Regina started small. Commenting on my clothes. That's what you're wearing? Questioning my choices. Georgia Tech? Wouldn't Spelman be more appropriate? Each criticism wrapped in concern. Impossible to challenge without seeming ungrateful. When I started TechFlow in Dad's garage, she was horrified. This tech phase is cute, but when are you getting a real job? Your father needs his space back. Dad gave me 3 months. I moved out in 2, refusing to fail where she expected. I'd used my inheritance from Mom, $50,000 she'd saved her whole life, as seed money. Every dollar felt sacred. Mom had worked as a nurse for 23 years, saving for my future even while dying. Now Regina wanted me to just hand it over? My phone buzzed. Dad, please consider Regina's suggestion. Family harmony matters. I threw my phone across the room. It shattered against the wall, screen splintering like my heart. The calls started immediately. Regina, twice daily. Have you thought about our discussion? Her voice oscillating between sweet and sharp depending on my response. Shanice posted on Instagram, big career moves coming. Can't wait to announce my new CEO position. #bossbabe, #family business. My notifications exploded. Friends asking questions I couldn't answer. My employees started hearing rumors. Marcus texted, Mom says you're being selfish. That's not true, right? I met Dad for coffee at our old spot, Java Junction on Peachtree. He looked exhausted, older somehow. Kendra, just hear me out, he pleaded. Regina's been crying for 3 days. Shanice is devastated. They feel rejected. They want my company, Dad. The business I built. It's not just yours though, is it? I invested $20,000 early on, remember? My blood went cold. You gave me that money as a birthday gift. You said it was mine. Regina says legally it could be considered a loan. Maybe we could use that as leverage too. Leverage? I stood up, knocking my chair back. You're threatening to sue me? No. God, no. Just compromise. Make Shanice a partner. Give her 49%. You keep control. 49% of my company to someone who's never worked a day in tech? Who partied through college while I was coding 16-hour days. Dad rubbed his temples. She's your sister. She's not my sister. She's Regina's daughter who's been living rent-free in your house for 23 years. His face hardened. Don't disrespect my wife. Then don't disrespect my dead mother by demanding I give away what her money built. I left him there, hands shaking so badly I couldn't drive for 20 minutes. I called my lawyer, Jerome Mitchell, the next morning. We'd gone to Georgia Tech together and he'd helped set up TechFlow's corporate structure. Run this by me again? Jerome sounded incredulous. Your stepmother wants you to transfer ownership because her daughter needs it more? That's the sanitized version. It got uglier. Kendra, your corporate documents are ironclad. You're the majority shareholder with 68%. I have 15%. The employees own 12% collectively. Your early investors have 5%. Nobody can force you to transfer anything. Dad's claiming his birthday money was a loan. Silence. Then, do you have documentation showing it was a gift? Birthday card. He wrote, for my brilliant daughter's dreams. No strings, just love. Dad. Keep that card safe. We might need it. Jerome paused. There's something else you should know. Someone's been asking questions about TechFlow's ownership structure. Called our registered agent last week claiming to be doing due diligence for a potential investor. My stomach dropped. Who? Woman named Patricia Holloway. Mean anything to you? That's Regina's sister. She's a real estate attorney. They're planning something, Kendra. This isn't just family drama. They're building a case. I thought about the papers Regina had slid across the table. I'd been too shocked to look closely, but now I remembered. They looked official. What do I do? First, we document everything. Every conversation, every text, every threat. Second, you prepare for war. Regina escalated. She showed up at my office Wednesday afternoon, Shanice in tow, both dressed in business suits like they were already executives. We need to speak with your board of directors, Regina announced to my assistant, Destiny. Family matter regarding ownership transition. Destiny, bless her, didn't flinch. Ms. Williams doesn't have appointments available this week. Would you like to schedule something for next month? We're family, Shanice snapped. Get Kendra out here now. I emerged from my office, keeping my voice level. This is my workplace. You can't just demand meetings. Regina smiled coldly. We have a legal right to understand the company structure. Your father's investment gives us standing. Dad has zero ownership stake. His gift was documented as such. We'll see what our attorney says. Regina handed me an envelope. Formal notice. We're demanding an emergency shareholder meeting. We have legal representation and we expect transparency about company finances. My hands shook as I opened it. Official letterhead. Patricia Holloway, attorney at law. Demanding financial records, ownership documents, and a board meeting within 14 days to discuss ownership restructuring and fiduciary responsibilities. After they left, I called Jerome. They're actually doing this. Then we do it right. Call the board meeting. Let's see their hand. The following Tuesday, our conference room filled with tension. My board consisted of Jerome, two early investors, Dr. Raymond Lopez and Michelle Torres, and my chief operating officer, Dante Williams. All people I trusted. Regina, Shanice, and Patricia Holloway sat opposite us like an opposing army. Patricia started. My clients believe there's been financial impropriety. Stop right there, Jerome interrupted. What impropriety? The company was built using family money. Gift money. Documented. Patricia Holloway wasn't backing down. She spread documents across the conference table like evidence at a crime scene. We have reason to believe Kendra Williams has been mismanaging funds that rightfully belong to the family estate. What estate? I asked, my voice sharper than intended. My mother's inheritance was mine legally. My father's gift was documented. What exactly are you claiming? Shanice leaned forward, suddenly confident. You used Dad's connections to get clients. His reputation. That has value. Dr. Lopez, one of my investors, actually laughed. I invested in this company because of Kendra's algorithm, not her father's dental practice. This is absurd. Is it? Patricia pulled out more papers. We've documented 15 instances where Kendra leveraged family relationships for business gain. That creates an obligation. 15 instances of what? Dante demanded. Going to family barbecues where people asked about her work? Networking is not theft. Regina's mask slipped, revealing raw anger underneath. She's been flaunting her success while Shanice struggles. It's cruel. Unnatural. A real sister would share. A real mother wouldn't try to steal her stepdaughter's business, Michelle Torres said quietly. Everyone turned to look at her. Michelle was 53, had built and sold 2 companies, took no prisoners. I've seen this before. Family thinking they're entitled to someone else's hard work because of blood. This isn't about entitlement, Regina started. Then what is it about? Michelle challenged. Because from where I'm sitting, your daughter wants a CEO position she hasn't earned, in a company she didn't build, using skills she doesn't possess. That's textbook entitlement. Shanice stood up, face flushed. You don't know anything about me. Sit down, Shanice, Patricia ordered, but Shanice was spiraling. I deserve this. I have a business degree from Clark Atlanta. I've been preparing for this. Preparing how? I asked, genuinely curious now. You've never shown interest in tech. You majored in marketing but haven't worked in the field. What exactly qualifies you to run a logistics software company? I don't need to know tech. That's what employees are for. I'd handle the business side. Dante shook his head. The business side that Kendra's been handling while growing revenue 300% year over year? That business side. This is hostile, Patricia interjected. We came here in good faith. No, you came here with threats and false accusations, Jerome cut in. Let's address the real issue. You want free money. You think because Kendra is successful and related to your family, you're entitled to her assets. Regina stood abruptly. We built her up. We supported her. How? The word came out harsher than I intended, but years of resentment bubbled over. How exactly did you support me, Regina? By telling me I'd fail? By demanding I leave Dad's garage? By criticizing every choice I made? I gave you tough love. Motivation. You gave me cruelty wrapped in maternal concern. There's a difference. The room went silent. Then Marcus's voice came from the doorway. Is that true, Mom? Everyone turned. My 12-year-old half-brother stood there, must have come in through the side entrance. His eyes were wet. Marcus, go home, Regina ordered. You told me Kendra was being selfish. But you're trying to take her company. His voice cracked. The one she built for her mom? You don't understand adult business. I understand lying. Marcus's words hung in the air like an indictment. Regina's face went through several expressions, shock, anger, then calculated composure. We'll discuss this at home, Marcus, she said coldly. Wait in the car. No. My baby brother stepped further into the room. Kendra, I'm sorry. Mom's been planning this for months. I heard her on the phone with Aunt Patricia. They said once Shanice has the company, they'd sell it and split the money. The room erupted. Jerome immediately started taking notes. Dr. Lopez looked disgusted. Dante's jaw clenched. Marcus. Regina moved toward him, but I stepped between them. Don't, I warned. He's telling the truth, isn't he? Patricia gathered her papers hastily. This meeting is over. Anything the child said is inadmissible hearsay. Hearsay in what court? Michelle demanded. You haven't filed anything legal. This is a private board meeting. But now we know your real intentions. Shanice's face had gone pale. Mom, you said we were going to run it together, make it a family business. Shut up, Shanice, Regina hissed. But Shanice was unraveling. You promised I'd be safe. You said it was my chance to finally be successful like Kendra. You said, she stopped, realizing what she'd revealed. Like Kendra, I repeated softly. That's what this is really about. Not need. Jealousy. Regina's composure shattered completely. You think you're so special? Your mother wasn't perfect. She was a nurse, Kendra. Common. But she gets to be this saint while I'm the villain. The entire room went cold. You could have heard a pin drop. My mother saved lives for 23 years, I said, voice shaking with fury. She raised me alone after my father left her. She beat breast cancer once, kept working through chemo the second time. She saved $50,000 while dying to give me a future. Don't you dare. Don't I dare. Regina laughed bitterly. Your father left her because she was boring. He told me. He said living with her was like living in beige. Dad's voice came from the doorway. Regina, stop. None of us had heard him arrive. He looked devastated, broken. That's not. I never said that. You did. After wine, after we made love, you told me how different I was. How alive. I said you made me feel alive again after grief. That's not the same thing. Dad's voice cracked. Jennifer was my wife. I loved her. Her death destroyed me. But you chose me. You married me. I married you because you helped me heal. But I never disrespected Jennifer's memory like that. Never. Regina's face contorted. You're taking her side? Your dead wife's daughter over your living wife. I'm taking the side of decency. Dad roared, and I'd never heard him yell like that. You want to steal Kendra's company? The one she built with Jennifer's money, Jennifer's blessing, Jennifer's memory? Have you lost your mind? She doesn't need all that success. It's excessive. Shanice has nothing. Shanice has a degree, a car you bought her, no student loans because I paid them off, and a trust fund from her grandmother. She has plenty. She just hasn't earned her own success. Shanice started crying. Daddy, please. I'm not your father, Dad said quietly but firmly. I've been kind to you, Shanice. Generous. But I'm not your father, and you're not entitled to Kendra's achievements. Patricia tried one more time. Mr. Williams, think carefully about your marriage. My marriage might be over, Dad said, looking directly at Regina. But my daughter's future isn't for sale. The words settled over us like snow, cold and final. Regina grabbed her purse, face twisted with rage and humiliation. Regina and Shanice left, Patricia trailing behind them, throwing threats about lawsuits that everyone knew were empty. Marcus stayed, sitting in the corner of my office while the board members filed out with supportive words and firm handshakes. Dad remained, standing awkwardly by the window. Kendra, You let this go on for weeks, I said, exhausted. You asked me to compromise. To give away my company. I know. I was trying to keep peace, trying to make everyone happy. But I was wrong. He turned to face me, tears streaming down his face. Your mother would be so ashamed of me right now. Probably, I agreed. Marcus made a small sound and I softened. But Mom would also understand that grief makes people do strange things. Makes them cling to the wrong people sometimes. Regina wasn't wrong about everything, Dad said quietly. I did feel dead after Jennifer passed. Regina made me feel alive. But I confused feeling alive with being happy. There's a difference. What are you going to do? I don't know. Marriage counseling maybe. Or divorce. But whatever happens with Regina, I need you to know something. He crossed the room, took my hands. Your mother was the best person I ever knew. Boring. She was steady. Reliable. Kind. She was everything good. And you're exactly like her. I'm so proud of who you've become. I hadn't cried in front of him in years, but the dam broke. We held each other while I sobbed. For Mom, for the family that could have been, for the betrayal and pain and twisted manipulation of the past weeks. Marcus, Dad finally said, "Come here, son." My little brother joined our hug, and for a moment, we were just the broken pieces of two families trying to figure out what came next. But the peace wouldn't last. I knew Regina. This wasn't over. I was right. 3 days later, Destiny rushed into my office. Kendra, there are police here. And Regina. My heart stopped. I walked to the lobby where 2 officers stood with Regina, Shanice, and a man in a suit I didn't recognize. That's her, Regina announced. She's been embezzling from the company. We have proof. Excuse me. I looked at the officers. I'm the CEO and majority shareholder. What is she talking about? The suited man stepped forward. I'm Detective Harrison, Financial Crimes Division. We received a complaint about fund misappropriation. We need to see your financial records. Jerome appeared at my side. I texted him immediately. You need a warrant for that, Detective. What specifically is being alleged? Regina handed Harrison a folder. She's been paying herself excessive salary, transferring company funds to personal accounts, and misrepresenting company value to investors. That's completely false, I said, voice steady despite my racing heart. I pay myself below market rate for a CEO. Every transaction is documented and board approved. We also have evidence that she stole proprietary information from a former employer to build this company, Patricia added, appearing from behind Shanice. Of course she was here. Dr. Lopez emerged from a meeting room. I'm Dr. Raymond Lopez, board member and early investor. Everything Ms. Williams just stated is a lie. Kendra developed her algorithm in graduate school, completely original work. Her thesis advisor can verify. Her salary is $68,000 annually, significantly below industry standard. Every financial transaction is documented and audited quarterly. Detective Harrison looked uncomfortable. Ma'am, do you have documentation of these allegations? Regina fumbled. Patricia has everything. I have testimonial evidence, Patricia said carefully. Multiple sources stating that. Testimonial evidence isn't proof of embezzlement, Jerome interrupted. Detective, this is clearly a family dispute being weaponized. These are serious accusations. If they're false, it's filing a false police report. Detective Harrison studied the folder Regina had given him, frowning. These are just bank statements showing salary deposits and normal business expenses. There's no evidence of embezzlement here. Look deeper, Regina insisted. She's hiding it. Ma'am, I'm going to need actual evidence of criminal activity, or I'll have to close this complaint. Check her personal accounts. She's transferred millions. Do you have access to her personal accounts? Harrison asked pointedly. Regina's silence was damning. I'll voluntarily provide everything, I said. Full financial records, personal and business. Because I have nothing to hide. Jerome nodded. We'll deliver them to the district attorney's office directly. With a formal complaint about harassment and false accusations. Patricia grabbed Regina's arm. We should go. But Regina was unhinged now, months of planning collapsing. You entitled little bitch. I welcomed you into our family. Gave you a mother's love. You gave me criticism and control, I said quietly. There's a difference. I made you stronger. Without my pushing, you'd still be in your father's garage. I left his garage because you made it unbearable. I succeeded despite you, Regina. Not because of you. Shanice stepped forward suddenly. Kendra, I'm sorry. I didn't know Mom was planning to sell. She said we'd run it together, that you could stay on as an employee. She said it was only fair because I struggled more than you did. And you believed success should be redistributed based on struggle? I asked. That's not how life works, Shanice. I know that now. I was jealous. You made everything look easy. It wasn't easy. You just weren't watching during the hard parts. The 16-hour coding sessions. The failed pitches. The investor rejections. The nights I ate ramen because every dollar went into development. You saw the finish line, not the race. Detective Harrison cleared his throat. Ladies, I'm closing this complaint for lack of evidence, Harrison said firmly. Ms. Williams, if you want to pursue charges for false reporting, contact the DA's office. He looked at Regina. Ma'am, I suggest you refrain from further contact with your stepdaughter regarding business matters. After they left, Regina seething, Shanice looking defeated, Patricia already on her phone, the office remained tense. My employees had witnessed everything. Destiny started a slow clap that spread through the office, supportive, but I felt hollow. Dad filed for divorce 2 weeks later. Marcus chose to live with him and Regina didn't fight it. Shanice moved to Atlanta, working retail and slowly rebuilding her life. I heard through Marcus she was actually doing okay, growing up finally. The investigation Regina triggered accidentally revealed that Patricia had been advising multiple clients to make false embezzlement claims against family members in business disputes. The state bar opened an investigation. Her license was suspended 6 months later. Tech flow continued growing. We hit $20 million in revenue that year. I finally paid myself a real salary. But the biggest change was Marcus. He started interning at TechFlow after school, learning coding from Dante. He had a gift for it, natural talent combined with actual work ethic. Think you'll want to run this someday? I asked him one afternoon watching him debug code. Maybe. But I'll earn it first. Like you did. 6 months after the confrontation, Dad invited me to coffee. Same spot, Java Junction. He looked better. Lighter, like he'd shed a physical burden. Regina's living with Patricia in South Carolina, he said. She's angry I wouldn't give her the house in the divorce. The house Mom helped you buy, I said. Yes. I'd forgotten that. Forgotten a lot of things, actually. He smiled sadly. I'm seeing a therapist. Working through guilt about Jennifer, about how I let Regina manipulate me. About almost destroying my relationship with you. Almost, I agreed. But not quite. We talked for hours. Really talked like we hadn't since before Mom died. He told me stories about her I'd never heard. How she'd wanted to be a doctor but couldn't afford medical school. How she'd made him promise to always support my dreams. How she'd predicted I'd do something extraordinary. She was right, Dad said. You are extraordinary, Kendra. Just like her. I left that coffee shop feeling lighter too. Regina had tried to take my business, my peace, my family. Instead, she'd lost everything she'd tried to steal. The best revenge wasn't the failed coup or the professional consequences. It was simply continuing to succeed, to build, to honor Mom's sacrifice by living fully and refusing to let bitterness poison my future. TechFlow went public 3 years later. $47 million valuation. I stayed here. And I never forgot. They couldn't take what I'd earned. Nobody could. Not without my permission.